It was in preschool. I entered a declamation contest. I memorized this poem. I think it was something about a goat. I can't remember exactly, but I just remember it was a declamation contest. I stood on stage. I was wearing a dress, and I delivered that poem. And when the awarding ceremony came, I won third place. And I remember being a child and throwing a tantrum. And it's cute because you're like 5 or 6, right? Can you imagine being an adult and throwing a tantrum when you win third place? Hey, my name is Kat,
And I'm Lee.
and welcome to the
Wildly Wealthy Life podcast. In this show, we explore the journey of what it means to live a truly exceptional and fulfilling life.
Each episode focuses on how a foundation of brilliant minds and brave hearts, nurtured through the arts, leads to lifelong success.
Get inspired with actionable tips to foster a growth mindset, leadership values, and creativity in children and adults, turning their potential into lasting contributions for their communities.
We hope that you embrace the challenge to shift your perspective as we equip you and the next generation for a
Wildly Wealthy Life.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Wildly Wealthy Life. It's been a long time since I've recorded a solo episode, and I really hope that today's episode will speak to your heart today and maybe get you on a journey of really discovering your true self-worth. This is a journey that I have been on myself for a very long time. I'm still on it. I think we all journey through self-worth. Whether we realize it or not, whether we accept it or not, we are all going through a journey of asking ourselves, are we enough? Right? Are we doing enough? Are we being enough? Are we who we're supposed to be? There's so many of those questions. Are we living to our fullest potential? Gosh, it's crazy. But I really want to share a story of the very first time I remember feeling like I'm never going to measure up. And this was in preschool. It's crazy that this was when I think about it, this story really came to mind because I was so young. I was about 5 or 6 years old at that time. I entered a declamation contest. I remember memorizing the poem, working so hard, practicing it. And finally, I was on stage with this beautiful dress, delivering my poem and delivering it as confidently as I could. And then I won third place. And I remember throwing a huge tantrum because I only placed third. And my grandpa, at that time picked me up and he said, it's okay. You still did your best. You still did great. And he whispered something along the lines of, I can't fully remember it, but something along the lines of, I think the judges made a mistake anyway. You're still the best. You're better than the ones who placed first. And of course, I know he said that because he wanted me to feel better. But at the same time, I really felt like, looking back, did that make me feel better? Maybe, but at the same time, like, okay, so nobody else saw that I was the best. Just you, like, even the judges didn't see that I was the best, and I don't know how we as a 5 or 6 year old can comprehend that first place is first best, second place is second best, and third place is third best. Because nobody in my family told me that, hey, if you're first place, that means you're the best. Nobody. It's just that somehow innately, I think as humans, we have this desire to achieve, right? We have this desire to do big things. We have this desire to live amazing lives. And I think somehow innately, we know that when we place, third, like we feel a little smaller. Looking back into our, school system, I love school. I love my journey in my school, like every school I've been to growing up, like, from my preschool to elementary, high school, and college. I loved school. But there's definitely a gap in the way the school system is being ran. And a lot of that gap is because schools, right, reward your performance. They don't reward persistence. Schools reward your answers. If they're correct, you get good grades, but they don't reward reflection, right? I think about being in sports my entire life. Like in school, I was in a volleyball team, a badminton team, chess, and all these other sports. And you win first place when you score the highest, right? Or in swimming, if you are the first, in running, when you're in the first, the judge will not give you first place just because you showed up on the day that you were sick and you pushed through, right? Um, it's not about persistence. It's always been about your performance growing up. And so I think that we carry that as we get older and now enter social media. And all that we do in social media is really portray the best parts of ourselves, right? And yes, there are times when people are a lot more vulnerable in social media and they do show all the parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is actually what really makes it beautiful, right? The parts that we feel are the not so worthy parts are, I think, what really makes us beautiful. And so my work, I truly believe that for me personally, my life's calling has been to work with kids. I've worked with kids for so many years and realized that it really doesn't matter what I teach, whether I'm teaching dance or aerial or chess or now piano. It doesn't matter what I teach. Every child struggles with the same thing. The question is, am I good enough? And that question, I think, is the question that we all ask ourselves the from when we are little all the way to we're adult. We may not know it that we're asking that when we were little, but if you grew up with siblings, I'm sure you're probably always comparing yourself to your siblings. I grew up with a cousin that was very, very close to my age, and I always compared myself to her. I always wanted to be the best. I was an overachiever growing up, and so I really struggled with the fact that sometimes I don't place first, right? And so, yeah, I just, this is to me my life's work. And I'm so grateful that I get to do this through music because I really believe that music is such a beautiful gift to us all, right? Music is a universal language and so is movement. So I'm so glad that in my journey I've taught movement, I've taught dance, I've taught music and now for me music is just one of those beautiful things that I get to teach, but alongside that I get to really help kids understand their self-worth. So, yeah, I guess takeaway for today is maybe look back and remember, when was the time that you first struggled with your self-worth? Maybe remember that specific instance, and that could maybe help you understand like your struggles of today. I know that it did for me, personally, understanding that, wow, okay, it started very, very young for me and it carried on for my entire school life. And if you're listening to this and you're a parent, and even if you're not a parent, like I'm not a parent, but I love working with kids and I love educating kids. And even if you're not an educator, right, you probably have kids in your life as an aunt, as an uncle, as a friend, right? You have friends that have kids, right? So how do you show up as an adult when you interact with kids so that the kids in your life, whether they are your own or they're not, right? The kids that you encounter in your life start really believing in who they are. Because I really think that this struggle with self worth, as I already shared in my story, it starts very young. And I think that we as adults can do our part in helping kids around us understand that what they do, right? The awards and the trophies and the grades and all of that does not ever, ever measure who they are as people. And that their worth is always going to be tied to who they are, their heart, their character, not what they can achieve. And I think that if we, just recognize that and do our best to help the kids around us believe in themselves a little bit more, I think that this world would be a much better place. So I hope that, you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, friends, that's a wrap on today's episode of Wildly Wealthy Life. We hope you're feeling fired up and ready to take on the world with your brilliant mind and brave heart.
If you love this episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. It helps us keep bringing you the good stuff.
And hey, while you're at it, drop us a rating or review. It takes 30 seconds? And it makes a huge difference for us.
Also, if you know someone who could use a little guidance on growth mindset, leadership, and creativity, share this episode with them. Sometimes that one conversation can spark up a whole new direction.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Go out there, live wildly, be wealthy in all the ways that matter to you, and we'll catch you on the next one.